Hey everyone, welcome back. I want to wish my Canadian friends a belated Happy Canada Day. And here are some fireworks for America. Happy Independence Day. So, special shout out to Ryder Dinosaurs for my marvelous intro. Check out his channel, link is in the description. This time, I'm jumping headfirst into a hotly contested debate about vaccines. When emotions run high, things can get loud. And I can't think of many subjects that get emotions higher than our children. Well, your children. I don't have any. Well, your children. I don't have any children. At least, none that I know of. Yeah. This is not going to be a direct response video, but sort of like a look at some of the questions that I came across when I did research. See, vaccines are one of the biggest breakthroughs we've made. What was once epidemic and fatal is now seen so infrequently that it can be forgotten by some. When it is seen, modern medicine has done its job so well, it's not as deadly. Well, for us. But in undeveloped nations, not so much. We're privileged to be somewhere where medicine has done its job and continues to. However, areas where they don't have access to clean water and good medical care, people die. Children die. Now, we've all seen an increase in the diagnoses of children with autism spectrum disorders. Well, some parents have begun to worry about a reason, any reason. That reason could be that we have more sensitive and accurate testing, and also there's been a broadening of the margins. Another may be Andy and people like him. Andy, or Andrew Wakefield, is, or shall I say was, a British doctor, a gastroenterologist, who became an anti-vaccine activist. He was barred from practicing because of unethical behavior, misconduct, and dishonesty for writing a fraudulent research paper that claimed the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine causes autism. However, other doctors, reputable doctors, say different. Very, very different. Like Bob Jacobson, chair and professor of pediatrics at the Mayo Clinic. They've done so many studies. They have a huge body of work, and it shows some vaccines can prevent autism, like the rubella vaccine. Some prevent mental retardation, like influenza and the measles vaccines. But none have been shown in any study to cause autism. The doctors that began claiming that they did were more times than not, like Andy, found that they were being paid by lawyers and people like that involved in big lawsuits. Their greed and unethical behavior has caused so much harm that it boggles the mind. Because of what they said and the fact that they were doctors, trusted to know that what they were talking about and that they would do no harm, parents made bad decisions. And they still are. Damage has been done. The parents who didn't want to opt out completely either began demanding that the vaccines were delayed when the kid gets older, or that they split them apart, didn't put them all so close together. Sure, great idea if you don't want them to act.
Risk perception. Given the merest sliver of a possibility that vaccines will cause developmental disorders, parents are now weighing a disease they have seen, autism, against diseases they have never seen. Since the 1970s, measles has been pretty much unheard of. The measles doesn't scare people my age for the same reason a giant man-eating squirrel doesn't scare us. We've never seen it.
Because we haven't had many major outbreaks, parents are, indeed, weighing the risk of one of the things that scare them the most, something that many consider just a part of childhood. They think, a few days itching or whatever, that's more of an inconvenience, a nuisance. Unfortunately,
my attitude with life as well as vaccines is that if you believe in it, you push for it. It's hard for me. Yeah. It's hard for me to think of a future where other children would lose their rights and continue to be injured when none of us knows why.
How about the right not to be made sick by someone whose parents believe the lies started by con men, to go to school and not or can lead to worse? When I was a kid, my mom had friends who would say, "Hey, Donna's daughter has the measles. You should have Marvel come over and she can catch it." Well, luckily, my parents didn't think that was a good idea. But why did their friends? They were good parents, loving and protective, so why would they risk it? Or even more relevant, why are the vax-hesitant parents today
autism? So amazingly, the success of vaccines is one of the reasons that people are less likely to vaccinate their children.
Mainly because vaccines have done what they were supposed to do. We haven't seen a plague. Do we need to, though? Will it have to get to epidemic proportions before they the sniffles? Because that brings up another issue. Herd immunity. Some people can't be vaccinated, like pregnant women or young children and immunocompromised people. But when all the people are vaccinated, the disease can't get in and spread. So, it's safety in numbers, really. When everyone in the community is vaccinated.
Don't listen, doctor. Don't listen, anybody. Listen to your rights.
Ignorance, fear, even the language barrier, cultural and religious differences, and the increased incidence of diagnoses of the spectrum disorders, which we touched on earlier. In Minnesota, site of a major and recent outbreak in Little Mogadishu, vaccination rates have bottomed out over the past 10 years. Why? Well, groups are targeting these people because of the increased autism.
Go upstairs.
And these people are scared.
Okay? You have to be quiet. Okay? Good.
Science says there is no link between MMR and autism. What would you say to some parents who might not understand where you're coming from by not wanting to vaccinate your other children?
You know, I only have, authority to talk about my son. My suggestion to them, do the things carefully, is all I can say.
Would you consider vaccinating your other children with MMR now because there's this measles outbreak?
I'm not willing to do that because of the scare for the MMR. I don't want to lose another kid again.
Your son is sitting right there. You talk about him as if he's dead. That's just horrible. I understand that you dreamt of your child having everything in life, but seriously, he's right there. I have friends who want a child desperately. I also know people who lost one. Either would jump at the chance of a son like yours. About 1 in 5 people who get measles are hospitalized. 1 out of every 20 children with measles gets pneumonia. The most common cause of death from measles in young children. About 1 out of every 1,000 who get measles will develop encephalitis, which is a swelling of the brain. That leads to convulsions, and it can leave your child deaf or with intellectual disabilities. Nearly 1 out of every 3 children who become infected with measles will die from respiratory and neurological complications. And measles can cause pregnant women who've not been vaccinated to give birth to premature or low birth weight babies. It's a lot of stuff to consider, huh? All in all, I get it. You look at a child, your child, and you do anything to protect him or her from any kind of pain. You want everything for them. And the thought of doing something that could cause them to have less of a perfect life is haunting. But vaccines have been proven not only to be safe, but to be the most effective weapon we have against preventable disease. Preventable. They're preventable. What? So, we made it to the end of yet another video. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with me. Now all that's left to do is to tell you my Discord's open. There's a really fun ongoing game in the bot room. Link, as always, is in the description. And I have my first patrons. Big shout out to NANA and Stringer News 1. Thank you guys, you're my heroes. If you wish to support the continued growth of this channel, please check out the links to my Patreon and wishlist in the description below. P.S. When trying to use a Chromebook to record your audio, piece of advice: don't spill coffee on it. And as always, thanks for coming.